Conference 2024. Are you ready? Believe me, it's hard to beat a person who keeps showing up every day. It shifts from winning to outlasting. And this year, the TIP Annual Conference has reached its outlasting realm. These are the words that hit us at the dawn of the introduction of this year's Annual Conference 2024 by Wendy Ologe, Africa's #1 parenting coach herself. My name is Joy Eshimokai. I am a public speaking coach. I am the founder of Prospeak Life Academy, and I am the official MC of the Intentional Parents Academy. We have grown tremendously over the years, and it's all thanks to you, our amazing community of intentional parents. Let's take a quick look back at our incredible journey. In 2018, we pioneered online conferencing to reach thousands of parents for free. In 2019, we had 25 coaches reach over 10,000 parents. In 2020, 27 coaches reached over 30,000 parents. In 2021, we had 30 coaches over 7 days reach over 50,000 parents. In 2022, we had 32 coaches over 7 days reaching 100,000 parents with over 1 million impressions on YouTube. In 2023, we had 30 coaches again over 7 days reach 150,000 parents with over 2 million impressions on YouTube. And now, TIP Conference 2024 with the team Raising Kings, those who make them, and those who sit at the table with King, with an outstanding 34 speakers. By the way, have you attended the TIP conference for 7 years straight? Then you will understand when I say you don't want to miss any session. It is an array of coaches from all over the world. The Academy has brought you the who is who of parenting to teach you parenting and make the world a better place. We are bringing you key players at this year's conference. Share the name of that speaker who you can't wait to see. Do you know any parents or parents to be? Share with them, tag them now. Spread the word and let's make this the most impactful TIP annual conference yet. Thank you for being a part of this incredible journey. We can't wait to see you at the TIP Academy. My name is Joy Eshimokai. Together, let's raise kings.
My name is Adako Jennifer Odelgo. I reside in Abuja, Nigeria. I joined the Inner Circle TIP program 2022 December after the parenting conference like this. Before the Inner Circle program, my parenting was directionless. I was a yelling parent. There was no structure for my children. Yes, flogging, that was my thing. You know, Coach Wendy would say it is a kind of achikote ekwono kind of parenting. That was what I was before the TIP Inner Circle program. But on joining the Inner Circle program, my God, it's been amazing, amazing, amazing. My children, they have routines, they have extracurricular activities that they're doing. I now have a plan for them, for both my kids. I have a plan for where they're going to. You can imagine, no lesson teacher. My two children, they both wrote common entrance exams, my daughter and my son, without lesson teacher, and they passed, as in passed excellently. School that is of a higher level. Coach Wendy, your mentorship has been amazing in my life. For me, it has been something else. I wrote a book recently, and oh my God, I would not believe it that I'll be able to write a book. But with Coach Wendy's mentorship, I was able to achieve that. Thank you so much, Coach Wendy. Thank you for taking on this call. May God bless you abundantly. The TIP Inner Circle program is the place to be. You want to raise kings, you want to raise people of impact, people that will change generations, then the TIP Inner Circle program is a place to be. Thank you so much.
Hey, are you a busy Nigerian mom living in Nigeria or in the diaspora? Do you want to save yourself the stress of food shopping and cooking, and also cut down on multiple delivery fees while shopping online? Then Basti Foods is your trusted plug. At Basti Foods, we offer you a wide range of ready-to-cook foodstuff that helps you reduce your food shopping and cooking stress with our packed pot foods. With our wide range of food items, you get to save multiple delivery fees when you shop from us at Basti Foods. Available in store are Ijebu Gari, already picked honey beans, already peeled beans, tapioca, yam flour, plantain flour, fufu flour, lafo flour, stove-free or further rice, crayfish, palm oil, chopper food items like dried pap, dried pomo, dried locust beans, yaji, etc. We also offer food bundling services for charity purposes and food gift packs. Our core values are convenience, health and hygiene, affordability, quality food stuff, and excellent customer service. We are on Instagram at Basti Foods. You can reach out to us on WhatsApp on 080-9928-1171. Again, 080-9928-1171. Let's get started on your journey to food shopping and cooking without stress.
Okay, yes. So I hope you can hear me. You can see me now. Hello, everyone. Good morning. It's the penultimate session. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you doing? How was the last session? Welcome to the penultimate session, the penultimate day of the TIP conference, and it's session 3. How has session 1 been? How has session 2 been? And now it is session 3. How are you doing? We're so honored to have you here. You've left everything you had to do just to be here, and I hope you have gotten value. No, it is certain you have gotten value. I am Amina Ismail, and I am so honored to be your host for this session. I just want to say a big shout out, a big thank you to our very own coach and mentor, Coach Wendy, who is the lead coach and the founder of the TIP Academy, and her entire amazing team. Just see how seamless this has been since day 1 all through to day 6. And I just want to say thank you for allowing me to host this session, and I am grateful. How are you doing? How has it been? Have you been here for the 6 days? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you have, then you're the real MVP. You shall take your flowers. And what has it been like? How was the session with the previous speaker? How did it go? Tell me. I cannot see you in the comments. I can't. What are you saying in the comment section? How has it been? Okay. Yes, can you? It has been amazing. For me, the main things I took away really were, that your children will follow the smaller gods unless you introduce them early to the living God. That was key. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Celestina. Thank you. It was powerful. Your children will follow smaller gods if you do not introduce them early to the living gods. And I'm like, what is happening? Is this man in TIP? Just the way he kept rolling out things. Every speaker has come to validate what it is that Coach Wendy teaches us in the inner circle. So basically, thank you for that feedback. I have the mindset that I am raising royals. And that was another key thing he said. You have to be able to visualize. I'm like, did this man see our parenting launch plan? Because how does he know? How did his mother even know, that yes, here says, how did his mother even know to be able to sit and see and think and foresee? So do you have a structure? Do you have a system to be able to see where your child will be in the next 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? That is what we do in the inner circle. We have our parenting launch plan thanks to Coach Wendy. So I just said, I was like, did this man peep into my notes? Does this man see my launch plan? Why is he saying all the things that they are teaching in the inner circle? But this is just because that is where you need to be. There is no anyhowness anymore. There is no excuse for it. You need to join. Parenting is about modeling. Your children will see you more than they hear you. And that was what happened with our parents. It was basically, we're scared. So anything they said, we just took it and ran with it, but it was not really integrated in us. This was another teaching, that this was another thing Coach Wendy opened my eyes to. And then all the 5,000 parents in the inner circle. So yes, let me talk a little bit about the inner circle. So the inner circle is the flagship program of the Intentional Parent Academy. It is a program where 5,000 parents hands are literally being held by Coach Wendy, and she just dishes out value to us. Imagine waking up every single day to her voice note and hearing her talk. She just reminds us of, okay, what is most important about your child, about your family. And you think it's about your child. No, I call inner circle life school, because before she even starts your children, I don't know, she doesn't even have anything. I don't know, she doesn't even talk about her children. I don't think there's anything my child will do. Her coach will be like, yes, we need to talk to that boy. She will drag you all through the whole 9 yards. So yes, so it's about you just being there, being held accountable by Coach Wendy, and she does this in a variety of ways. So we have webinars, we have the voice notes, we have paid, you have programs too, real master classes where you will come, courses that you take, emotional intelligence courses for you first before your child. So have you booked your slot? I'm talking too much already. You're supposed to have paused this video and gone to book your slot, because it's only in the inner circle that you find Coach come sometimes with blue fire, where she's so cool and is like, they are preaching and scattering us. And then the days she comes with red fire, that one, we don't even know what's happening to us anymore. We're all burnt and there is nothing left. It's only in the inner circle that you hear things like, flood and abia. It's only in the inner circle you hear things like achikota no parenting. All of these things. So, but they put it in very humorous ways, but at the same time, they are very serious issues. They are issues we don't joke with. We do not joke with our lives in the inner circle, and you shouldn't joke with yours. So jump into the inner circle. We're Muslims there, we're Christians there, but it is parenting. The principles are the same. I have seen so many things and I've had to go back and I'm like, yes, this was what the Prophet ﷺ said. He never yelled on Anas bin Malik. So why are we yelling? Why are we shouting? Why are we screaming? So yes, please book your slot. And I think it is time to roll in the bio of the next speaker. Are you ready? I am not seeing the fire emojis. I'm not seeing people saying that they can't wait to hear the next speaker. I am not saying it. And maybe we should just go home. I think we should just call it wraps, call it a day. But honestly, if you have been here all through, you would know that it's value packed and you should be in the inner circle, because like Coach Wendy said, freedom is an illusion. So you don't want to be just there doing things anyhow. Yes, because you will be burnt later in life. So yes, team, if you're ready, you can just roll out the bio of the next.
Emmanuel Ogabidu is a school admin and Montessori lead guide. He obtained Nigerian Certificate of Education and later bagged a degree in educational psychology from the University of Abuja. He has attended and obtained several professional training and certifications, among which are Jolly Phonics, Preschool Montessori Certificate, and International Diploma in View, Creative-Based Learning, Technique for Professional Class Leadership, Leading in a 21st Century School, Innovation and Learning in 21st Century, integration of technology in learning, among others. He is the founder of Early Years Resource Hub and Montessori Lead Guide. Dispenses teachers and parents with tools and resources to make teaching and learning fun and meaningful for children. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the Intentional Parents Annual Conference 2024, Emmanuel Ogabidu.
Hello, sir. Hello, Mr. Emmanuel. Good morning, sir. We're so honored. We're very, very happy to have you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Good morning. Thank you for
Yes,
having me.
good morning. Good morning. Are we doing it the way we do it in the inner circle? So, yarders and prospective yarders, Coach has taught us how to honor royalty. So, please send in your fire emoji. Let them just keep coming in. So, yes, you're going to have 40 to 50 minutes to deliver your session, and then we'll come back and pick your brains more. All right, sir. You have the floor now. Okay,
Can you hear me now?
okay, can't hear you, sir. Okay, yes, I think I can hear you now.
Clear now? Okay, good morning, everyone. Especially, I want to start by thanking Coach Wendy for allowing me to use our platform. And also thank you, parents, for allowing me come into your homes, into your minds, and into your environment. So far, it has been an explosive session. I've been following this program, and it's a master class. It's a master class of its own. And it's really important that you key into what is going on because minds are changing, lives are changing, and families are being transformed. So indeed, the future is looking brighter for us. Thank you once again, Coach Wendy. Coach Wendy. So for today, I'll be sharing with us how to adopt the Montessori principles in our parenting. Now, before I delve into the crux of today's topic, let me just give a brief introduction into what the history of Maria Montessori. So Maria Montessori was the only child. She was born in 1870. So as the only child, she had this desire to study engineering. Now, she's the only child and is also a girl child. So then the females are not encouraged to toe in some career lines. So coming up to say she wants to become an engineer was something on its own. Then she went further, she picked interest in biology and started tilting towards medicine. Now, this was entirely a game changer for her and for her parents because then it's not the norm. So there are careers that are created for girls and there are careers that were created for girls. So now she went on to study medicine. After she studied medicine, then the first place of her assignment was a psychiatric home. Now, in that home, she gets to see children that the society tagged as defective children, or they call them retard. Then the first lesson now for us now is that she began to observe these children. Now, from observing them, she began to take notes of what she observed. Now, don't forget our medical background. So she began to take notes. Then one day, something interesting happened. She visited the psychiatric home. Then she observed that the food they gave these children, they gathered the crumbs together and they began to crush them. Then she now observed that something is amiss. Then she went back and started reading books. Now she studied people who started before her, people like John Itard and Seguin. Then she kept making notes, she kept taking notes of her observations and her research. Then from her note and observation, she began to introduce materials to these children. Now, when she began to introduce material, now something tremendous happened. These children began to normalize. When they became normalized, she went as far as preparing them. They wrote the international exam at that time in Italy. And amazingly, the children did far much better than children that were judged to be okay. Now, this led to the explosion of what I'll be sharing with you today. Now, as a matter of fact, this pedagogy has been around for over 100 years. So for over 100 years, people have been implementing this principle consistently, and they've seen results consistently. Now, what I'll be sharing with you today, if you begin to implement it now, you begin to see instant results in your parenting and in how your children evolve. Now, there's a particular theme, if you observe in all the speakers, most of the issues with parenting is not with the child. Most of the issues with parenting is with the parents. So if the parent gets it right, then parenting becomes easy. When the parent does not get it right, then parenting becomes a task, and a difficult one at that. So let's go. Now, part of the issue discovered is what I'll be sharing with us today now. Now, if you observe with me, every child, when you are pregnant, you are a parent. When you give birth, the real task of parenting begins. So at the point you are in now, a parent, then at the time you become a parent, a verb. So here now, what you know will be put to the test. And it is what you know that will determine how you go about your parenting. So at birth, if you observe, children come into the world, like we say, empty. But you will see that children are actually not empty. Now at birth, each child has his BOS, basic operating system. Now at birth, something animates the child. What animates the child is a life force. Now what we call this life force is home, HORME. Now this is a life force that propels the child. It propels the child towards growth, towards living. Now it is very important to observe this life force. So at birth, the child begins to move. The child begins to reach out to things. The child begins to do things. Now, this is not out of the ordinary because the child has a pre-established pattern of unfolding. Now, let me explain this. When a woman takes in, the child goes through processes of development in the womb. Then at 9 months, there is a push to come out into the world. Now, this is life force in action. This is the God element in action. So when you give birth to the child child comes in as an incomplete human being. Now, incomplete human being in quote because the child needs to adapt. Now, basically, education is a process of adaptation. Now, for you to understand that the education is a process of adaptation, understand that the child comes into this world not as an empty being, but it has a BOS, a basic operating system. Now, this basic operating system is called the home or the instinct, which propels the child towards life. So at birth, the child starts for food, the child is hungry, the child wants to see, and so on and so forth. Now, this life force activates a principle we call the absorbent mind. Now, I will take time to establish this. When you understand this, then you will see something that will be falling out for you. Now, what is this absorbent mind? Now, at birth, children can see, they can feel, they can touch, and they can hear. So what it means that once you give birth to your child, learning has started. The child is beginning to learn. Take note of this. Now, the assumption we often make is that because the child cannot talk, the child cannot say anything, we assume the child is not learning. But so long as the child can hear, can see, can touch, and feel, the child is learning. Now, at birth, nature gives the child certain superpowers, and one of those powers is the absorbent mind. What is the absorbent mind? The absorbent mind is that capacity of the child to take on impression from the environment effortlessly. So what is this? The child just stays in an environment and the child is absorbing. Now, this is where it becomes interesting. What the child is absorbing are not just impression, they become the child's personality. So psychologists tell us that between the first 3 years of life, the child's personality is established. What it means is that by age 3, the child's person is formed. Now, this will shock you. Whatever the child has formed cannot be totally destroyed. Take note of this. Whatever the child has formed cannot be totally destroyed. Now, the first 3 years is very important. Now, in the first 3 years, we call it the unconscious absorbent mind. Now, within this period, you observe some characteristics of children. Now, they learn unconsciously, they pick on impressions from the environment, and these impressions are forming who they become. Now, this now comes to you. How you relate with the child becomes an impression. How you talk to your child becomes an impression. How you carry your child becomes an impression. So the people you bring around your child also are forming the personality of your child. So as a parent, once you are working towards parenthood, you need to become conscious of the people that are surround you. You need to be deliberate about the people that come around you. And this is why it's also important you join the inner cycle, because in the inner cycle, you are not just giving knowledge, you are empowered to surround yourself with community of like-minded people that have shared the same values and principles with you. So you need to deliberate the people you bring around you, because at birth, your child has the absorbent mind and is picking up information from the environment. Now, this information, they form the child's personality. Now, don't forget that there's an energy that is guiding the child. Now, it is very important we understand this energy. It determines the child's interest and where he puts his attention. Now, this is where observation becomes critical for you as a parent, because you need to take note of what is driving your child. Then you will now see the next principle that will help you to take care of your child. So children, as they work out, they gather the materials, they begin to gather the impression around them. Now, like I said, this impression forms their personality. You need to take note of this. It forms their person. So a child that is exposed to abuse becomes abusive as an adult. A child that is taken care of becomes a caring adult. A child that is respected respects others. Now, this is where modeling becomes important. Oh, often I hear parents say, this boy cannot greet. Oh, this boy cannot do that. This girl cannot do this. Where do you think all of this is coming from? Now, let me ask you a question, and I'll expect answers from you. Number one is that, have you ever asked yourself how children learn? Now, how many of you listening to me now, you've taken time to teach your child how to greet? As in, you sit your 2 years old and said, okay, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Or you take your time to teach your 1.5 years old how to do certain things. Now, you can't do it because at that stage, they learn very fast by seeing. And you are the head start that nature has given to your child. So you need to model the right values, the right behaviors, and the right ideas, because all these actions come together, they are depositing into your child's life. So anything you do, whatever you say, the people you surround your child with, they are dropping deposits into your child's life, and these deposits are the raw materials that the child will use to reconstruct himself. So in the first 3 years of life, your child is gathering the impressions and the raw materials he needs to recreate himself. Now you will see that in the second phase of the absorbent mind, the child becomes a conscious being. Now, a conscious being in the sense that he's trying to bring out what the impression he has absorbed to form his person. So that you see, what you give the child between the first 3 years, the child begins to use those things to recreate, to reconstruct himself, to build his intelligence. Now, this is very important. What you do in the first 3 years determines what happens in the second 3 years, and determines what the kind of adult you are forming. Now, let me tell you this. As an adult, the media has no problem with you. You have been formed already. All they need to do is press your triggers. Now, they don't have business with you. They are focusing on children because they know that children pick impression easily and effortlessly. Now, this is why if we want to change this world, where we should be paying attention to is the children we are bringing in. And our primary target are the parent, because the parents are going to transmit these values, characters, and behaviors to their children. So the child comes into the world as an unconscious being, begins to absorb impression and experience unconsciously and effortlessly. Now, the child picks language, behaviors, and values unconsciously and effortlessly between the first 3 years. Now, in the next 3 years, the child begins to reconstruct himself. So, what will the child use to reconstruct himself? The materials you have provided within the first 3 years. Now, you need to pay attention on the first 3 years because that is you are laying the foundation. You are predicting, you can in quote predict what the child will become. So you need to be deliberate and conscious about the people, the materials, and the things you surround your child with. Now, in the next 3 years, from 3 to 6, the child begins to reconstruct himself. Now, this is what you need to take note of. Within the first 3 years, the child is an unconscious being and is directed by a force. Now, this is where I get fascinated when I see parents punishing children. Now, this child has not formed his will. He has not fully formed his person. So this child is relying on you as a parent for guidance and nourishment. So if this child needs guidance and needs help from you, beating or spanking the child, you are pushing the child against the force of his nature. And when this child is pushed, the child either digress, you suppress the child, or the child deviates. So this is it now. The child comes into the world incomplete. Then he lives in an environment, he begins to absorb knowledge, impression, and values. Then in the first 3 years, he takes in all of this. His personality is formed by 3. And between 3 and 6, the child begins to consciously reconstruct himself. Now, if you observe in this period, children repeat. You will see some element of disobedience because there is something they are trying to understand. And they understand these things through repetition. Now, this will take us to the next principle that you need to understand. We call it the sensitive period. Now, this is the period, this is the stage in your child's life where a child is sensitive to certain things in the environment. This is another window of opportunity nature is giving you to build a whole human being. Now, this is where you can also now come in. Now, in this sensitive period, children they move towards certain things. And now there are so many sensitive periods. There are about 7 of them, but I'm going to sit on 3 of them. Now, the first sensitive period is language. What language are you communicating through your values? What language are you communicating through your character? What language are you communicating through your actions? Now, you agree with me that the child that is born has no culture. The child takes on the culture of his parents. And what is the culture? Culture is the way of life of human beings. So the child comes to that culture, the child begins to observe and internalize the culture of his parent. Then the child gets to a stage where he begins to reconstruct himself using those cultural tools and elements you have given to him. Now, the child has needs for language because when the child begins to move, the child begins to walk, the child needs language, communicate his thoughts, feelings, and ideas. Now, the thing is that nature has given you one phase to give the child all the raw materials he needs. Now, nature is also guiding you to see what the child has absorbed. So in the first phase, you have no knowledge of what the child is absorbing. You just need to be deliberate what you are exposing your child to. Now, in the second phase, you begin to see what you have done. Because now the child begins to bring out all the values and attitudes he has observed from the adults around him. And language is one of the basic needs of your child. So the child has the needs for language. And when it's this sensitive period for language between 0 to 6 years, this is the critical point for you to expose him to the right language. Now, like I said, children absorb these things. So all you need to do is ensure you communicate always. Talk to your child when you want to eat. Talk to him when you want to bathe him. Tell your child where you are going to. Now, when you are doing this, you are not just communicating to your child, you are communicating respect. Now, respect is one principle we're going to look at also. You're communicating respect and values to this child. Now, children go through the sensitive period. As they go through the sensitive period, it's important you expose them to the right language, teach them the right things, tell them the right things, expose them to the right language. Now, as they go on, the next sensitivity children experience is movement. Now, movement is one key element we need to understand. Movement is tied to your child's cognition, intelligence. As children begin to move and they begin to walk, their circle of exploration gets to expand. As it expands, they build their capacity. As they build their capacity, they continue to absorb from the environment. This is why it's very important. The first stage, you have your child, opportunity for you to pass on the right impression. Then the second stage, you need to surround your child with the right kind of person, because as he go on to move, he explores and interacts with people. Now he's picking values, knowledge, and ideas from people. So movement is one need of the child, and when the child is within the sensitive period for movement, you need to create space. Create space for movement in your home. Now, this is also a key. When you are enrolling your child into a school, you have to look out for space, because your child needs space to move. Now, this is what movements helps your child to do. Movements helps your child to expand his language. Movement helps your child to self-regulate. Movement helps your child to explore. And lastly, movement expands your child's phase of influence. Now, the next one I'll be sharing with us is order. Now, yesterday's speaker was talking about structure and order. Now, structure and order is one area I've seen parents miss it. Now, your child gets to that sensitivity for order, and it is important you model the right character and right behavior. Don't forget the unconscious observant mind and conscious observant mind. Your child is observing you. So you need to set routines. Things have to be in the right place. You need to create structure and order in your home. Things need to be done at the right time. Create structure for your children, because it helps them and they gain a sense of security and trust. Now, when the environment is disorderly, it brings in a sense of disorientation. Children go into a form of distress, and this manifests in their behavior. Now, this is very important. Create structure, create order, because when children are in the sensitive period for order, it is proper you expose them to the environment that is orderly and structured. Now, this helps them to self-regulate. And in that process, we build a whole child. Now, the next principle I'll be sharing with us is the human tendencies. Now, these principles also help you to understand your child and how to deal with your child. Now, at first, the child comes as an incomplete human being. Then he absorbs information, impression, and ideas from the environment. Then it goes to a phase where he begins to reconstruct himself with these raw materials. Now, let me shock you with this. I've heard parents say, oh, let's wait until he's in secondary school, then we will now be deliberate about some things. No, you don't begin to raise kings when they are out of the universities. You don't raise kings when they are in secondary school. You start early, you start early, you start early. So at birth, you start the process of raising a king. Now, this is very important. You start this process early. Now, for you to start this process, you need to understand that your child has an absorbent mind and it goes through sensitive periods. Now, all this help to form who your child is becoming. And like I said earlier, observation is your power. When you observe your child, take note of his tendencies, then you can expand and form an environment, which is the principle I'll also be explaining, that will empower your child. So what are the human tendencies? Now, human tendencies are inclination or propensities. They dictate what your child does per time. Now, this is very important. It informs what your child is doing. Now, if you don't know what dictates your child's behavior, you will be tempted to punish. you'll be tempted to inflict pain on your child. So I'll group these things into three, then I'll run through them. Now into three groups. Now the first group talks about what is out there. Now when the child comes into this world, it begins to move, it begins to look for what is out there. The child wants to explore. The one wants to get an orientation of his environment. The child wants to understand order, what is here, what is not there. So when the child goes out to play, he familiarizes himself with the environment, then the child also finds his way back to the environment. Now the child explores, understand the environment, and understand the order that is inherent in the environment. Now, orientation and order is very important. So children want to explore, they want to understand. So you see children moving to touch things, moving to carry things. Now let me shock you, no child wants to misbehave. Every child is moving towards life and they want to explore. Exploration is a form of learning. As they are learning, they are adjusting, they are normalizing, they are orientating into the environment. Now, this is why you need to establish routines and order in the environment because they help the child to adjust. So the first group we have exploration, orientation, and order. What this does is it asks what is out there. So your child is moving out to see what is out there. Now the next phase is, the question this phase asks is, what might I do with what is out there? So when children go out to gather the raw materials they need, when they come back now, they start thinking of what can they do with what they have gathered. Now, this is where children begin to abstract. They begin to bring pictures of things. They begin to gather these things. Now, the next tool they deploy is imagination. They begin to form images. So if you project the wrong character, your child is going to develop the wrong character. If you model the wrong values, your child is going to imbibe the wrong values. Don't forget, what your child absorbs in the first 3 years of life, they are not just impressions, they become part and personality of your child. So children go out to explore, then when they come back, they begin to abstract. They begin to start to put these pictures and images together. Then the third phase now talks about how can I carry out my ideas. Now I'm going to link all these three for us together. How can I carry out my ideas? Now, what this entails is children begin to look for ways. They begin to look for things, how to implement their ideas, how to bring what they've absorbed, the materials they've gathered. They will start looking for how to implement this idea. Now, you observe these things with children. They begin to manipulate. They begin to touch. They carry the remote, they press it, they smash it to see what is inside. They begin to touch things. They begin to move things here and there. Now they are trying to manipulate. Then they look for precision. Then they go on to master repetition. Now repetition is a form of learning that many people don't understand. As children repeat something, they begin to understand what that is. They internalize it. And when they are done with that, they move on to something else. Now, the last human tendencies is communication. When we have explored, we have oriented ourselves. Now, the next thing we do is we begin to bring these abstractions and form images. Then we begin to see how we can manipulate this to create things. Now, all these elements and more, they come together to determine how your child behaves per time. So let me run through what I just shared with us so far. Children come into the world incomplete. Now, nature, God has given them powers, and the powers are the absorbent mind and sensitive period. Now, the absorbent mind is the time when the children absorb information effortlessly. And as they are absorbing information, they go through sensitive period. These are the period they pay attention to certain stimulus, to certain things in their environment. Now, I shared three of the sensitive period with us. Sensitive period for language, sensitive period for movement, and sensitive period for order. Now, I also share with us that humans have certain tendencies. Now, these tendencies informs our behaviors. Now, what are these tendencies? There are explorations. Children want to explore. Children want to see. Children want to touch. Their orientation. Children want to adapt. They want to understand what is in their environment. Then order is also one thing. Children are orderly. Nature is order. And because children are a product of nature, children are also orderly. Now, the role now, where it now dawns on you is you need to model the right thing. Now, children go on to begin to manipulate. They begin to repeat certain things. And in what they do and how they do it, there is a control of error, mistakes. Try and error is how children learn. So when the child is moving towards something, don't be scared. I say, it's going to spoil it. No, your child is not going to spoil it. Your child is exploring. When a child is trying to tweak something in the house, don't, it's going to, no, observe and you see what is driving your child. You see where your child is tilting to. Then now this is where you come in. This information will empower you. Now it empowers you to see where your child is coming from, where he's going to. Now you become a support. You consciously supply the raw materials, the values, the knowledge, the ideas your child needs to reconstruct him or herself. Now, the next principle is the principle of the prepared environment. Now, what is a prepared environment? A prepared environment is that environment that, one, understand how the child learns, two, what the child needs, and you go on to prepare the environment. Now, often when you talk about environment, people pay attention only to the inanimate objects in the environment. No, the people you surround yourself with are part of your environment. Now, as we have seen in the period of the 0 to 3, your child absorbs all this information. Now, this is very important. So, you surround yourself with people who have the same values with you, the same ideas, and people who also understand how children grow and evolve. Now, as you begin to have people in your environment, because like they said, raising a child requires a community. You can't raise your child alone. So if you must build a community, you should build a community of people who have like minds, people who know how the child learns, people who know how the child evolves, and people who knows how the child reconstruct himself. Now, the prepared environment is one way you can also empower your child. Now, how do you do this? You bring in material that the child can handle. Now, the prepared environment will help your child to become independent by the kind of materials you bring into the environment, and the people in that environment will support and aid your child in the path to becoming a king. Now, this is very important. Now, you bring in material that your child, we call them child-sized material that your child can relate with, because it gives them the sense of ownership. They can handle them. They can work with them. So, the prepared environment is the environment you are building to support your child in his journey of development. And this environment should have child-sized material and the right adults that have the right knowledge and information about how children grow, about how children evolve. Now, the next principle I'll be sharing with us is encouraging independence. Now, we make these mistakes a lot by interfering with what children are doing. How do you encourage independence if you don't allow your child to do certain things? So in this day, you see parents, they help their children to talk, they help their children to cook, they help them to dress, they help them to do so many things. Now you are disempowering your child. You are creating an imbecile in quote, someone who does not have the will or capacity to do things for himself. So what do you do now as a parent? Now, with all what I've shared, there are two parts to this now. One is the child's responsibility. It empowers you, but it places a huge burden of responsibility on you. You need to be deliberate. You need to be conscious. You need to take note of so many things, because you are raising a child that becomes an influence in the future. Like the Montessori would say, a child that is not cared for will become a problem for the society. So you need to be conscious, you need to be deliberate. Now, how do you raise independent children? Now, design an environment we call the prepared environment that empowers them. Now, one way you do this is by putting on materials that are child size, materials they can carry, materials they can handle. Then you model, don't forget, you model the right attitude, behavior, character, and value. Now, when your child is ready, your child begins to carry out actions on its own. Now, you need to be there to encourage your child because you know that children learn through repetition. So the more they do these things, the more they gain knowledge and experience. And as they gain knowledge and experience, they become independent. They become independent. So independence is not gained by talking. Independence is not gained by pushing children. Independence is gained by empowering children first and guiding them in an environment that supports them. Now, this is very important. Now, the last principle I'll be sharing with us for today is freedom and responsibility. Now, often when you talk about freedom, you get a lot of questions. You get a lot of concern. Now we talk about freedom with boundaries, freedom within limits. Now, when you build an environment that encourages freedom, that allows children to be free, it empowers you as a parent and it empowers your child. This is very important. When you design an environment that encourages freedom, it empowers you as a parent and it empowers your child. Now, I'm going to talk about the two ways it empowers you and your child. Now, don't forget, children absorb information, and this information they absorb, you have no way of telling. You have no way of knowing what it is. Now, when an environment that encourages freedom, you begin to see what your child is learning. You begin to see what your child is picking up from the environment. Now you are now in a position to see what your child has absorbed, what your child has learned. Then you begin to consciously guide your child. So you see the two things freedom does for you and your child. It empowers the child to be free. Then it also empowers you to see what your child has absorbed, and you can now go on to guide your child. So there are three things that should inform the limit within the environment. One is, like Madam Montessori said, all forms of movement, you need to observe all forms of movement. Now, the only movement freedom you should restrict is one. When the child's activities or movement wants to harm the child, you need to come in to stop it. Now, this is one limitation. The second one is that when what the child is doing is going to harm another person, you need to come in to stop it. This is the second limitation. Respect for self, respect for the environment, and respect for the things in the environment. Now, with these three umbrellas, we can now create limits and boundaries that inform what children do and how they do them. So, to close this session, your child comes into this world with an absorbent mind. It absorbs impression and information, which he used to reconstruct himself. Now, this empowers you as a parent to model the right values, the right behaviors, and the right character. And the child begins to use this information to reconstruct himself. Now, in this phase, you become a participatory agent in your child's life by guiding your child through freedom and respect. So, I think I've overshoot my time. Thank you very much. So I'll be taking your questions now. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. My mic has been off. Sorry. This was an amazing session. Who is still on their seats? So this is the kind of session in the TIP where we say this is the blue fire session, where he's talking so calmly, yet you're reflecting. You're like, okay, where am I in my parenting process? Where am I? Because Coach Wendy says all of these things. Thank you so much, sir, for such an amazing session, such an enlightening session. Who else felt the fire? The blue fire, Coach Jose's kind of fire, the one that comes and bites you and makes you think and makes you reflect. So many things he said, basically all it's still saying is parenting is about us. It's about you. What do you know? It's only when you know you can help your child all through these processes. I heard social roadmap. Where who are you surrounding your child with? That's what we call the social roadmap in the TIP. Who are you surrounding your child with? Who is surrounding your child? Because these parenting partners at some point will be the ones whose voices your child will hear over and above yours. So what are you doing, parents? What are we doing? We don't play in the TIP. We don't play in the inner circle. Thank you so much, sir, for coming to reinforce and let us know that no, parenting indeed is war, and we are there at the battlefront, fully equipped with everything, with our swords and even the things to protect us, because outside there it's very dangerous. So yes, do you have any questions? Please drop your nuggets, because he said a lot, and the best way to thank him and all of the speakers is to go and follow them, because there's a lot more from where this is coming from. See how he just came and broke everything down for us, and how whenever it is you see your children doing things, no child wants to misbehave. Do you understand that? And how we just fly off the handle at every given opportunity, but no child wants to misbehave. So please follow Mr. Emmanuel today, just as a way of saying thank you. All of this comes to you for at no cost, but trust me, it has cost people money, it has cost people time, it has cost people their sleep. So the least you can do is to follow and say thank you. And have you left this place to go and register just 5,000, because everything every speaker says, it's a reflection, it's affirming, it's validating, it's buttressing what Coach Wendy constantly says. He just mentioned, about helicopter parents. They threw spares at you too, where you are now raising an imbecile. I will not raise an imbecile. Please type it in the comments. I will not raise an imbecile. Where you're constantly wanting to help him do things, allow these children to fail. Let us allow them to fail, and then we step in and correct them. But when you cut their wings, even before they realize they have wings, come on, will you give them yours to fly from the grave? You won't be here forever. So do you have questions? Do you see why you need to be in the TIP? Because we do not come to play. Parenting is the most important business, the most important career, the most important job you will ever have to do. Unfortunately, there is no graduation date. So you will retire from that job, you graduate from their university, but you will constantly be a parent. And like Coach Wendy says, you stop being there is no stopping being a parent, but you ascend to being a matriarch, where you have poured your all, you poured everything, but they see you as this hub of wisdom, where whenever it's even as adults, they feel that they are kind of stuck. They know that they can come to you because you're constantly developing yourself. You're constantly in that place of knowing that you are someone who is shaping destinies, who is helping shape these children. So yes, thank you so much, sir. We're very grateful, and we would if we don't have any questions. Yes. Do we have any questions? There is no question. Media team, we're not seeing any questions. So we'll assume that we are reflecting. Even my voice came down because I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing? What are you surrounding? Bite-sized materials. So you have to, it's like a step-by-step process, but we just want to rush them. And the moment they are fiddling with those puzzles and they are getting frustrated, you get frustrated too, and then you throw in the towel. No, that is not it. We have to continue. It starts from us, and that is why parenting is about us. Are you going to tell yourself, if you need to walk away and say, okay, let me take a breather and come back, please let us not cut short the wings of our children. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. We're grateful. We're happy to have you. And yes, thank you. And so everybody, are we getting ready for the next session? Okay, I can hear some. Are we getting ready for the next session? It is going to be awesome, as it usually is. Please don't go anywhere. Stay back, because we have many more, coaches to come and just give us and keep giving us. But most importantly, especially for those of you who are like me that hate to say goodbyes, we have just tomorrow. And by Monday, you will not see TIP. You will not see anybody in red or any amazing speaker coming to talk to you. But the one place you would always have these people talk to you and give you nuggets is in the TIP. So go and book your slot and get and jump into the TIP in 2025. Yes, and so all of the details are rolling on the screen. Please, 5,000, and before December you pay it up. There is no how you will not 5,000 shawarma money. No, there is no excuse for this. Ignorance. If we think education is expensive, ignorance is a lot more expensive. So yes, I hope you booked your slot, and if you have not, you still have time. But please stay tuned as we bring the next speaker in. So yeah, this is me saying thank you and bye for now until I come your way again. Thank you so much, media team. I am so grateful and honored to be here. Yes, so.
Hello everyone out there, my name is Dr. Messi. I know my journey into the inner circle as a yada. I had my inner circle the year 2022 to one of my daughters on a platform, and I joined last year December 2023. How I was as a parent before I came into inner circle. I think I parented via head knowledge and how we were trained, how we were schooled, But coming to the inner circle is a different ball game altogether. I'm telling you, coming to the inner circle, meeting or being trained by the #1 African parenting coach, Wendy Ologe, is something extraordinary. The inner circle is a total scope. It's not just for training our kids, but it's for the parents entirely. That's the truth. Some of us came with a lot of allotting, allotness, and allotting our allotness. But I'm telling you, we've been trained just a few months into the inner circle. Serious and rigorous training, monthly reviews of book. If you're in the yard, you must learn how to read. You must read, you must study, you must learn a lot. Webinars, like twice every week. Webinars here and there, different speakers coming, The train, we're being bombarded with knowledge, how to be a better parent, how to be better, everything. I'm like, seriously, this is something very unusual. You cannot be snoozing in the yard. There is a lot to learn. My life has been better, my children's life. I remember last year, December, I think I used the Christmas bundle. And we had a wow Christmas with the children because we had a lot to do. Wait a minute, is it the daily journaling? Is it, I don't know what to say, but a lot. One of my favorite books from Coach Wendy is Connect to Correct. She taught us how to connect with our children before you can correct them. And that has been helping. So much to learn in the inner circle, I can tell you. It's a place to be. She came sometime to Benin and we're shouting, yada, like, what's yard? Yard is where we belong as inner circle. A yada is somebody who is living in the yard. So let me invite someone. I want to tell you, 2025 is open for everyone. Come into the inner circle. You will learn. Your life will be better. Your home will be better. Your children's life will be better. I can promise you that under God. This woman is engraced. This woman is empowered. This woman is fortified by God. She is a voice in this generation. I can tell you that. So now I'm inviting someone to come join me. I'm in the yard and I'm not going anywhere. Omo, you snooze, you miss. God bless you. Thank you.
We currently live in a world with a huge number of careers available, each requiring a set of abilities and expertise. As a result, individuals and students in particular do not know where to begin or what career to choose. According to a well-known JAM experiment, an abundance of option causes uncertainty, meaning that a student is likely to pick anything just any career from a lot of alternatives, which may not be the best fit for his or her personality and skills. So how then can a student select a profession that will fit their personalities and skills among the many options? The simple answer is career evaluation. Self-evaluation is difficult because we don't always see ourselves objectively. Instead, we often see ourselves in a specific way. This problem can be resolved through an assessment which offers a frank evaluation of one's abilities and shortcomings. An evaluation might provide students with unexpected insights into their personality, learning styles, interests, and motivation for learning, as well as their skills and abilities that may inspire them to attempt something novel and satisfying. Now in Nigeria is an online technology platform where students are being assessed for the best fit career paths with ease, void of bias, confusions, and errors. This is a global practice similar to what is obtainable in other parts of the world. Parents can now invest in the education of their children with an enduring feeling of satisfaction and peace of mind. Introducing Yes Ed Careers. Yes Ed Careers is an online career assessment platform that can assist students and professionals access their career decision, eliminate confusion and waste of resources. It achieves this using the 5 dimensions of career assessment, which includes personality, motivation, skills and abilities, learning styles, and the interests of the child. Attention, school owners and educational leaders. Are you ready to provide your students with cutting-edge career guidance solution? Yes Ed Careers is here to partner with you and launch comprehensive career counseling services starting from the 9th grade SSS1 to the 12th grade SSS3, extending support to pre-varsity students, undergraduates, and professionals. Here are reasons why you should partner with us. Number 1, immediate implementation. With Yes Ed Careers, you can kickstart career counseling services right away, ensuring that your students receive the support they need from an early age to make informed decisions about their future. Number 2, tailored solutions. Our programs are designed to cater to students at different stages of their academic and professional journey, offering personalized career assessments, counseling, and resources to meet their unique needs and aspirations. Number 3, empowering educators. Through our training programs, we empower your teachers to become proficient career counselors, equipped with the knowledge and skills to guide your students effectively. Number 4, holistic approach. Yes Ed Careers adopts a holistic approach to career counseling, taking account of the student's interests, skills, personality traits, and aspirations to provide comprehensive guidance and support. Number 5, proven success. Our track record speaks for itself. By partnering with Yes Ed Careers, you can join a network of schools and institutions that have successfully implemented our programs and witness the positive impact on your students' outcomes.